Is it fine? Should we start?
Yeah, you can start it.
Okay. Ananya, please start the live streaming.
It is going live, ma'am.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I welcome you to today's Trailblazers event. And with us today, we have very eminent personalities, Professor Ashutosh Sharma, Mrs. Neeti Sharma, Dr. Pathania, Dr. Bhadra, Dr. Banerjee, and we'll be talking about their life as scientists and as family. So today is in Wisdom event. It's third in the line, the Trailblazers event. The first two were held in July. 7th and 8th was the STEM Gap, nurturing the next generation women leaders in academia. It was a workshop at IIT Gandhinagar in an offline mode. The second one in the series was the iconic women scientist that was held on an online mode on the July 12th. With this short introduction to the Wisdom event, now I hand over the target to our chair, Rajendra Dhaka, to kindly introduce INYAS to the people who don't know about INYAS.
Thank you, Neha. Good morning, one and all. On behalf of entire INYAS family, it is my great pleasure to welcome all my INYAS colleagues and all participants who have joined this event online through Zoom as well as through YouTube platform. I am particularly delighted to welcome three young couples who will be sharing secrets of their successful life and experience of working together. As Neha said, there are many participants who may be joining INYAS platform for the first time. So let me briefly tell you about INYAS and its broad mandate. So as most of you know, INYAS stands for Indian National Young Academy of Science, which was founded by our parent academy INSA during 2014-15. And currently INYAS is only the recognized academy for young scientists and by young scientists in India. In INYAS, currently we are around 105 members and around 65 alumni members. All are young and independent researchers. Our members are geographically from all over India, from different institutes like IITs, IJARs, central and state universities, research institutes of CSIR, DAE, DRDO, etc., and from different disciplines like science, engineering, medicine, agriculture, etc. We also have few members from science communication, science policy, science education streams, and we are also considering personnel from industry and entrepreneurs. Our membership is only for 5 years. So every year we normally induct 20-25 new members, and around the same number become alumni. So this means that the academy will always have a group of young and dynamic scientists. Let me also tell you that our membership call for this year is open now, and we have extended the deadline till end of this month. So if you are eligible and interested, I would encourage everyone to please apply for INYAS membership. You can, of course, find more details in our website. In INYAS, let me tell you a little bit about our vision, which is mainly to promote science education and outreach, networking and support for young scientists, as well as to build scientific temperament across the country. We organize many science outreach activities like science camp at school levels, workshop, awareness workshop, as well as skill development workshops and competitions for various levels, starting from college students, PhD students, and postdocs. And many of these events we conduct in local languages to better connect with the society and to the students from rural area schools and colleges. We also conduct survey on different scientific issues which are being faced by many young researchers. And then we do analysis of the data which we get from survey, and then we write the outcome of the survey and also some recommendations, and then we try to publish all these in a form of white paper, and also we communicate these results to the policymakers for a positive change. So in INYAS, we also organize technical conferences to have more networking among early career researchers, aiming to have more interdisciplinary research collaboration. We collaborate with other academies and organize various outreach activities. So in nutshell, INYAS provides a great platform for young scientists to learn from each other and more importantly, to work together and contribute back to the society in different ways. And working together will always bring new ideas and new initiatives. Neha already spoke about the initiative of Wisdom. So particularly, I am really thankful to the Wisdom team of INYAS for creating this unique platform where for the first time INYAS even invited young couples who are working together, balancing their family life and also having a successful career. We will also be releasing reels made by our INYAS colleagues who will be also sharing how they are having work-life balance and many more details. So as you know, the target audience also in this event are young researchers and PhD scholars, which is the age group or age where we are facing various challenges considering all these aspects. So having this particular session, I'm confident that all participants will be greatly benefited. So looking forward to have a great interaction in this session. Thank you all. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you, Rajan, for a very good introduction to INYAS. Now it's time to dive into Trailblazers. So I request Neetu to kindly introduce the Trailblazers event today.
Thank you, Neha. I'm Dr. Neetu Jha from the Department of Physics, Institute of Chemical Technology, Mumbai. So Trailblazer is an event which we organize under the flagship of Wisdom Women in Science domain, INYAS. Here we motivate young girls to pick science as a career and share the journey of women achievers, how the partner support is important and help in success of another partner. Here we as a woman promote other women to choose career paths or whatever role they decide to choose, be it homemaker, teacher, pilot, joint defense forces or research forces or scientist forces. So as a couple, we need to have mutual agreement on our choices. At the end of the day, what matters is how you lead your life, how satisfied with whatever decisions you make and how fruitful it has been. So whatever decision we take, we should be happy and satisfied with whatever decision, and how partner support is so important. So today in next 1.5 hours, we'll have the opportunity to listen to eminent scientists and how the partner support is important and lead to success in their life. And yes, we will also see now that how we manage both both work, home, science and research through our reels. So let us share with you the first.
I would request Professor Ashutosh Sharma to please, just on the online mode, inaugurate our reels. So Neetu will play the reels. Yeah.
Is share sound. Yeah, is the.
Yes, it's sharing.
Just with a click, I'll start. So. Thank you. And we will keep sharing these reels throughout the program. So this is just the starting. And now we'll start with our program, going ahead with Dr. Neha.
Thank you, Neetu, for such a nice introduction and all the efforts that the team of Trailblazers has put in to make up these reels. So all the actors in these reels are actually scientists, and all of them have been working hard both at home and in making reels. So that's the next generation. What they see is this, and I hope some of you will be motivated to do this kind of work that is science as well as motivating the others. So let's dive into our session that we have been waiting for a long time. With us, we have today Professor Ashutosh Sharma and Neeti Sharma. So there is no introduction required for Professor Ashutosh Sharma. He has been associated with IIT Kanpur, DST, and currently is INSA president. And for Neeti Sharma, I would say she has been a constant support and the better half of Ashutosh Sharma. And he's there, I think, today because of her support. And she obtained her MA and MPhil in political science from Jaipur before marrying Ashutosh ji in 1985 while he was studying in the US. And she has been doing a lot of pro bono work. She has been librarian of a community library, student counselor of IIT Kanpur, and she has been looking after the family while Ashutosh ji is traveling all over the world.
Mm.
So I would like to welcome you both to this program, and I would like to know your very early life before you two got together. How was your life like then, and how it was immediately like after marrying? How did you adjust with the scientist with you, whom you were marrying?
I think my life was, like a typical middle class girl. You go to school, you try to get good grades, you have, I had a large family, which means that we are 5 siblings. And so there was always, company at home. And my father was a government servant. So one gets transferred every few years, and every new place, you make new friends. Although last few years before I got married was spent in Jaipur. So, my high school and bachelor's, master's, everything was from Jaipur. And then I got married.
So how was that transition suddenly with parents and 5 siblings and then marrying a scientist? Did you know about the
then you end
scientific
up with
world?
one person.
So you shifted to the US with him?
Yes, within a few months, because I was still studying and doing my MPhil while I got married. So I finished that and then, go through the visa stuff and stuff. So it took me a few months to get to the US. And
so how was this cultural difference in India and the US? And suddenly after getting married, you are young and you have been left with a new person. So that is what I want to know.
yes,
What was going on in your
this
mind?
is the interesting thing. When you live in India, you read these books, you see these movies, especially those days, this was 1985. So just remember, one didn't have all the net and, you didn't have much information. You just knew what you had read in the books or whatever English movies you had seen, and you didn't know much. And so the introduction is, you get down from the airport and it's a different world altogether. And, your cab driver is a woman and somebody's supposed to sit behind the driver. Both of you cannot be sitting in the back. So this is like something that did not happen in India at all. So you get down and you get into the cab and you realize this is not the world that you have known. And this is
A new world.
a lot of learning.
So, like Dr. Ashutosh Sharma decided to return to IIT Kanpur, and what was the thought process, and was there a driving force from your side as well that we have to come to India, or was it joint?
When we got married, we always knew that at some point we are going to come back. So that was, the question was only of at what point of time. And we also knew that we need to come back before our daughter becomes accustomed to the US ways. So when we came back, my daughter was about 6 months old, and that probably was the appropriate time. And I think we needed to be in India at that point of time. So there was no pushing or shoving or just, just deciding this is the time we have to go, and we just came back.
So I think initially with young children, like you said, your daughter was 6 months old.
Right.
So handling a young child while sir was traveling or like sir was taking classes, was it difficult for you?
Yes.
And how sir supported you as well?
I think we both kind of struggled in our own ways because he was trying to find his place in the work area, and I was, trying to find uh, new ways to manage the house and the child. There's no telephone. We didn't have a gas connection for months together.
Yes.
Or years together. Actually, I learned to cook in the solar cooker because that kind of felt good and also very liberating in that, you just put everything in there and then you're free, and, the water would go off for many hours and the electricity would go off for many, days, a day or two, and one had not gone through any of it ever. So
So at these initial days when sir was, setting up lab, sir, what was your experience in setting up a new lab and what kind of,
Oh, there was absolutely no possibility of setting up a lab for 10 years. So that wasn't the problem at all in those days. So I changed. So first of all, I decided even before I went to US that I would work in India eventually. And I had told her when we got married that, let's not get married because you want to live in the US. That it was very clear that we would actually come back and work here. So there was no conflict, there was no bickerings, nothing. Most of the time, people are now able to come back to India because of the spouse may have a different way of thinking about it. And of course, children are grown. So there was never a problem for us. Of course, the adjustment. So for about 10 years, I turned myself into a theoretical physicist because that was possible to do. There was no lab, there was no infrastructure, there were no PhD students. There was no money, there was nothing. Okay, there's no research culture, especially in engineering departments. So anyhow, so the whole point is that one shouldn't worry too much about it. One shouldn't worry too much about it. Just one, one has to do the best that one can do under the constraints, and without really complaining too much about it, or even to think too much about it. And that's the only way that one can actually do well. I know many people who were complaining too much. They didn't do very well because they just couldn't negotiate their new surroundings coming from the US, coming from MIT, wherever. They would just constantly think about that world and so on. And you cannot, because once you walk out from a world, it should just be gone from your neurons totally.
So on this point, actually, I have a question for you. Both of you were saying that you read a lot of books. So at that time, when you were struggling as young people, we are like, usually hot-blooded. We want to fight for a better job or a better salary. So what inspired you to keep yourself, what kind of books did you read? What kind of an inspiration did you take from your surroundings that you were okay with being a theoretical physicist for 10 years while being a chemical engineer?
Yeah, books. I mean, I've been reading that since I was like 4 years old. I had finished reading all the original 18 volumes of Mahabharata by the time I was in third, fourth standard, thrice. And then after that, by the time I'm in high school, I read one book a day. So in those days, you could actually rent books and swap it with your friends. So there I've been doing, I cut a lot of classes in my first year of IIT at Kanpur. To read Karl Marx, to read Sartre, to read Kafka, to read everything, except to read technical arts, 101, or whatever it was, very silly. So anyway, so the point is that, of course, reading a book or doing anything else, other activities, people may think, look, I'm going to be 100% dedicated to my paid job, which is also fine. I mean, there are people like that. But on the whole, for an average person, there one would need to find some kind of balance in what we do outside of the work. The fact is, I never thought about work and life as being separate. So I carry my work now. See, as we speak, do you call it work or do you call it life? I don't know what you call it, but I have the same feeling no matter what I do. that is actually life and it is work, and even what people call life, I call it work and vice versa. So there is no separation between the two. And that's certainly possible in academia. It may not be possible in corporate life, right? I mean, where is very rigidly defined boundaries of the work and so on. So I think in a sense that our community, Neha, is a little bit blessed that you do have that freedom actually to have that kind of not balance, but actually two things which are meshing into each other, if you would.
Ma'am, I have the same question for you. So what kind of books were you reading at those initial stages when your child was young and sir was, trying to set up his lab? So what
In that case, all young mothers, they know you hardly get any time to read.
Time.
You are setting up house and you have a small baby at hand. But generally, I mean, I am in a habit of reading everything that I could lay my hands on. Except I couldn't read any of his science books, of course, and a whole lot of philosophy books. He tried very hard. I am, it's only now that I can actually appreciate the philosophical part of a lot of things. But any kind of fiction I could read, I could read about life, people, I could read about people, but magazines, anything. So whatever I could find.
So your dynamics, both of you, as sir and you as young couple and as a couple now. So is the dynamics changed and how has it grown over the period of time? So I would like to know both your views on this.
So, I mean, first of all, let me thank INYAS and Rajendra and Neha for considering us as young couple, which we are, which we are, by the way. So I'm just saying, of course, you are younger.
Sir, we learn from you.
Right. I always remind people that there are no old people in this world. I often repeat it. People often forget it. This is actually a lesson I learned rather early in my life. I stayed with my grandparents when I was in class 2 to class 5 in Ajmer. And so I was totally comfortable with people who are described as old, who are, so there's a satsang every day. There's a whole people collecting there. And they were all about 60 years of age. Okay, and I just considered them to be my friends like anybody else. And I was totally comfortable with diversity of age, of gender, of language, of people, because my dad was getting transferred every year because, being an honest person, and then you see, you learn that honesty has a price, but you should pay it rather willingly and smilingly. And so diversity, etc. That was the keystone. And how does life change as you become less young? That's the question. All right, Chen, you see, when you are younger, you are worried about career, you are worried about, join LinkedIn. At my career, stage in career, I don't join LinkedIn because I'm not looking for a job. I'm not looking for career expansion. But in that time, one is thinking about awards, networking, about getting ahead in life, focusing on work, doing all of this stuff while also taking care of the family, the children. Over time, of course, the children, the care for children get replaced by care for parents. For example, that we had one daughter, one child, and now it's my mother. Her place is taken by my mother, right? And so that thing about caring, it doesn't change. So there are new challenges of life, etc. Especially the new challenge would be, look, when you don't have your work challenge that much left, right? All the stuff that you thought about you would do in your work. Okay, you have done some of it, you have done most of it, and then you will have to invent new meanings to your life. And that's a tough part indeed for those people who have not thought about anything outside of work. I know so many people who go to pieces after they retire because they have not thought outside of their office at all. So that's one aspect. Of course, some things change, some things don't change. And this is both real and funny. So I'll narrate it to you. So when I was younger, let's say in your 30s, so we get together with people of same age, we drink countless cup of tea, and then we, are really bitter about people who are not as young. We say things about director, about the deans, about head, about all the people who are giving or not giving awards and all that stuff. That's very common. We are bitter and we criticize, and especially we are not very happy with younger people. I mean, older people. But as you become less young, the criticism continues, but now you're not happy about the younger people. Okay. So there is something which does not change, which is bitterness, negativity, and criticism throughout the life. That doesn't change. What changes is the target for that negativity and criticism. So by knowing this, one can guard against it. By knowing that this is rather natural to human mind, to be worried, to have fears, all of that stuff. But it's not really very significant. I think you can set it aside if you like, if you want. So the progression of life is like this, that one worry gets replaced by another.
Ma'am, what are your views of the adjustments that you have done as a young couple, and now what is the chemistry or the dynamics between both of you? How has it changed over time?
I don't know how to tell me.
Yeah, I am also thinking about that, but doesn't really pay attention to how things are changing. You just kind of go from day to day and, incident.
No, because initially sir was not traveling that much, right? So he was there
true.
at home.
That is true. He always traveled. He always traveled. Actually, I think, except for the initial years in Kanpur, he always traveled. But more so now, I think. And
so how does it take a toll on his health, and how do you manage that? And how do you take his time out?
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's difficult. Traveling so much is difficult for him. And also people at home also. It just doesn't feel quite right.
So let me tell you, but this is very good because I often don't have to worry about, packing my suitcase. So I say, hey, I have to leave early tomorrow morning. And before I know, I take shower, half of my suitcase is already packed. So that's a very great help, I have to say. And second, I never carried wallet. I don't deal with money at all. And now it's much easier because no matter where I am, where I do the shopping, I call her and say GPay. Okay. Really, I'm serious.
Why GPay?
Yeah. Here is a number. Please take care of money, right? So it frees me a lot of, stuff that I consider unnecessary. I don't get into money. I don't get into wallet. I don't get into suitcase. And I just, I travel light and free. So for my life, for my thinking, freedom was the only condition that one ever wants at every cost in life. And it was so good to have a wife who understands that and who can, be totally supportive about it.
So, sir, for one of the last few questions, so what do you think your similarities, dissimilarities, likes and dislikes on certain things that bring you both together? Because, opposites also attract, even if you have different likes. So what are your similarities or dissimilarities or things that you like to do together?
So I'm a scientist, she's a political scientist. So half of us is common. Yeah. Okay. And and we do believe in, I think in terms of similarity, we do believe in being kind, being generous, being helpful, being friendly. Absolutely. Nobody ever had complained about that from either one of us. So we are social in a sense. And so I think there's a great similarity. It's not, some people, well, in a couple may happen that one doesn't like mingling with people and so on. That becomes a little bit difficult. So I don't think there's any problem there. We don't argue about science because we are both not
argue about science, please.
We are not both in the same area. So that doesn't I don't usually bother her about office politics or politics of any kind.
Actually, that's a very good thing.
Yeah, and I never share, the unnecessary things. There's only need to know basis, which keeps it, personal. It keeps it light. It doesn't get into that kind of gossip. When she meets a person, she would not have a preconceived notion or opinion about that person.
Yeah, especially if you live in small, close community like this.
So we don't get into that, that kind of social gossip and who is doing what or not, which is very good because having these preconceived notions about who is evil, who is good, and so on is very counterproductive when you talk to people, when you interact with them. Fact is that ever since I read Mahabharata, I know for sure that there are no evil people, and there are also no Mahatmas in this world. So therefore, everybody is a gray, is a scale of gray somewhere. And so I think what is it? We like doing a lot of things together when we are able to travel together. We watch many movies together, at least 3 per week, I think. Isn't
If
it?
you can manage time, if you're home.
Evening, night, yeah. We both sleep not before midnight.
So what kind of movies, sir, do you see?
All good movies.
Oppenheimer, have you seen
Okay,
Oppenheimer?
no, this is very vague, but we like sci-fi, we like lots of action movies. I like social movies also, which is not his genre at all. And and they have to be, but they have to be reasonably well made.
And
Really.
what about
Reasonably
Netflix?
So
well
over time, you see, I mean, we had this hobby when we were in US. I used to record movies. There were at least 500. A collection in those days on video cassettes. It was very time consuming. We rent actually video cassettes and I copy them. I had 2 VCRs and I was copying them for several years, thinking that I'm going to go to Kanpur, India, and then there won't be anything like that. So, we should be planning for the
Prepared.
future. And indeed, that planning for future was very good. In fact, all my classes, undergraduate classes, even I used to invite them once a semester to my home and I make them watch movies that they have not seen those. In fact, those days there were no movies in India you could watch, right? Except in theater, good movies were not coming there. They have forgotten the people I taught 33 years ago. They have forgotten what I taught them, but they have not forgotten the movie I had shown them. Okay, and they all remember her and her hospitality. So there's something common that I say that being around people and being comfortable about that. You have seen this movie Blade Runner? Have you seen Shining? These are the movies I used to show them, not the new Blade Runner, the one from '82, Blade Runner, right? And so this was some very new experience for them, and I think it enriched their lives. I think because more than the courses that we taught, I think what is dissimilar and what is similar. Actually, every two humans they have a great deal of similarity. It's just that we don't see it because we focus on what is different about people. There's a function, there's a biologically how brain is designed.
But there is a question from the audience.
Yeah.
So who took care of the school homework and exam schedule of your daughter? And what was sir's contribution, how he contributed in her growth?
I have to say not a whole lot. Okay, it's just I keep asking her, I say, hey, why don't you do computer science, get a job, settle down? That was my contribution. But she totally rejected that, and that was also okay. Right? So she said, oh, what the heck, no computer science, you want to do design and art. So I think my interest in art actually rubbed on her more than my interest in science, which is perfectly okay. So I have to say that I was not able to directly inspire her to follow my kind of work and be worried about exams and stuff. The fact is I was never worried about exams, so I couldn't pass on that kind of value system. So I was always getting second division in my primary school because I lived with grandparents and they were not bothered at all about what grades you get. So you just enjoy yourself. So I couldn't possibly communicate that kind of value system about that one should go to a coaching class and one should do all of that. No matter how you justify to yourself as a parent that you are doing a good job for your children by pushing them, saying, look, be competitive and so on. I don't know. I think it's a decision that each person makes. To my mind, that was never something to debate on. Is saying, look, everybody has to grow according to their own, mind and their value system and what they do about it, right? So in that sense, there is no direct influence. I also sometimes people ask me, hey, who are your heroes? Who influenced you? Even if I think very hard about it, I cannot come up with a single name. And this is not because I'm disrespectful. of anybody. It's just that, I am my own man, and I want you to be your own woman, so to say. Okay, and so there is no question about influencing, but helping is possible. Helping, so if somebody is looking for help, and if I'm able to do it, I will do it. Okay, if it is legal, so to say. Okay.
There is another question from Neelam Yadav. Have you ever regretted coming back from the US from the point of view of your child or career or something
Well,
like
not
that?
at all, not at all. Because you see, in fact, we may have regretted if we had not come back. So there was never any doubt to my mind that I wanted to be a teacher, and after I was in IIT Kanpur for undergrad, that this is where I wanted to teach. Okay, so these things were all predetermined. Okay, they were all totally planned, and everything went according to plan. There was never, not only about coming from US to India, that could lead to regret, but we not had regret about anything in life. Okay, that would be silly to have regret, because it's your decision about what you do in life. And moreover, life is not a controlled experiment that you can go back and repeat it. So you don't know whether you are better off with the choices you made or not, right? So it would be totally silly to regret. I just can't understand how there could be a feeling of regret about anything for anybody in life, no matter how bad the situation might look.
So
Right.
there is another question. What was the biggest low or the biggest high when both of you were together throughout your married life?
When we have good wine to share, that's the high. Okay, yeah, and I mean, say if we are traveling, we did one time. I think there was pretty good holidays in
Yes.
Paris.
When was your
South-
last holiday, sir, on that same issue?
Together?
We are not
Together?
yeah,
Together, yeah.
yeah. We, all of last summer we traveled together at least 10 different places.
Yeah, once
Yeah.
we came back to Kanpur, or once he retired from, DST, then
I have to
there
say,
was time.
I have to say, in
So we could go.
DST for in 7 years, we took 4 days of holidays together, exactly counted.
Yeah.
Okay, just because there were greater, what do you call,
precious.
commitments, so to say. So personal commitments have to take the back seat. But anyhow, after that, we find a lot of opportunities to travel together.
Then we traveled, yeah, a lot.
Sir, another
That's
question.
very-
Now that you are at a mature state, and I see a lot of photos of your plants, and and you have read Mahabharata. So, how much of the spiritual knowledge that you have gathered has contributed to your, career and family and work-life balance?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I don't know if I call it spiritual knowledge. See, I have always had interest, deep interest, abiding interest, committed interest in philosophy. As she had pointed out that, okay, it took a long time because philosophy is not something you learn only from books. Philosophy is something you do in your life, and by thinking about it and so on, by reflecting on it. Okay, so in terms of what people call spiritual and so on, I would say that without that dimension of life, there would be very little else. I mean, it'll all be mechanical, isn't it? So the reason that you're able to negotiate with what is perceived as difficulties of life all has to do with that particular dimension of life. You cannot address difficulties of life by doing more work. Okay, that would just not work. Okay, it just doesn't work. So only way is to step out from this plane. For example, so I'm often jokingly tell people that, even though we are together, I'm only half here. What I mean by that is that I'm not seriously entangled in life. This is like, okay, you're doing some stuff, but at the same time, you are thinking a little bit outside of it. And that is the reason I can for example, I can very honestly say that I don't perceive a single person in this world as an enemy. Okay, a lot of people say this guy did me bad, this guy, he did this and that to me. This is all true. Everybody has those experiences, but I have now never perceived anybody as my enemy against who I have to do some special action, okay, to get even, so to say. That doesn't happen, and the reason it doesn't happen is only because of this dimension that you carry with you all the time, and you can enlarge that dimension if you like. Okay, that dimension that you call spirituality or whatever, it's not religion. I love going to temples, but usually where there are no crowds and where there is even old temple, it may be a ruin totally, and I'm totally comfortable with ruins, so to say.
Not necessarily functioning temples, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
Both are good.
So I think we want a final giveaway message from each of you, one line to the viewers out there who are newly married, maybe, or they are in the middle of their journey as a couple together. How should we adjust, or what should we think about when we are supporting our partners,
So while
and
you
how
think
can we do
about
it?
it, while you think about it, let me just say stuff. Say, look, don't lose your sense of humor. It's so easy to lose it. And I think half of life is only humor. Okay, and never take neither yourself nor others very seriously. Okay, there's functional things which are serious, but a lot of it is actually not something very mechanical and functional. Okay, and the rest of it, there must be a good lightness of being, so to say. I don't know how to call it, but it's lightness of being, or the outward expression of which is humor. I find humor in everything. Even if we converse for 2 minutes, I would find a very great deal of humor in that aspect, and I think that keeps you that really keeps you. You said about young couple and stuff. Yeah, it will keep you young for much longer time than you otherwise would be younger, right? And so I think this sense of humor is something that we share. Because how do I know that? Because she laughs at my jokes. Okay, which most people don't actually. So so I think it's fairly clear that there is compatibility on that particular aspect about seeing the sense of humor, even if looks a little bit weird and out of this, context and so on. Okay, so that's be humorous, be cheerful, be light in your being. That's my final 2 bit of advice.
Ma'am, please, what would be your takeaway message from your life?
From my life, from our life as a couple, I think one has to, there are always places where you can be together and it could be very good. So just, make most of that. And that's it. And then it's easier if you try to walk together, sometimes not, but most of the time together. So that's good. And also, like he said, if you are able to laugh at things, especially if you can look back at things and laugh at them, it's really good. Then whatever you are not happy about right now will feel great sometime in future. For instance, I remember this, when there was no electricity, we had come to Kanpur and there would be no electricity and one is on the road and people would either, if they're on bicycle, they're constantly ringing their bell and people would be singing and stuff. That time it was not such a good experience, but right now I can laugh about it. So I think that works.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Very good.
both of
Thank you.
your insights to a happy marriage. And you are one of the trailblazers for us to look up to.
Thank you so much.
So now,
your own trails.
thank you. So now I would request Shri Parna to kindly start with the podcast reels that will be released by our couple Ashutosh Sharma ji and Neeti Sharma ji.
Yeah. So many of you are aware that INYAS has a YouTube channel, and we are very active, and most of our online activities are broadcasted through INYAS YouTube channel. And sometimes we also try to record our offline events, and we do share with our audience all these, even offline activities. So the main purpose of these this running YouTube channel is to achieve greater reach of our activities to the masses. So this year we tried to do something new, and we are introducing a new event that is a podcast series by women INYAS members, whom we generally call INYAS. Now, for this season, we have recorded 6 episodes. So we have basically 6 episodes in our bucket, and the speakers are chosen from 6 different subject areas. And the podcaster is also a INYAS member, woman INYAS member. So basically, this is a completely new experience for us. Hope you all will enjoy our effort, and please do share your feedback with us, because your feedback will help us to improve further. Now, the first episode will be broadcasted today, and we plan to air other 5 episodes in consecutive Fridays. So, with due permission of Professor Ashutosh Sharma and Neeti Madam, may I request Neetu to unveil the e-carton to show the cover images of the podcast episode to our audience. Neetu, please. Yeah, so you can see, so Neeti is our speaker from biology, Pragya will cover physics, Priyanka for chemistry, Sugandha for math, and Shamin will talk about science education, her experience and journey in science education, and lastly, Chirasri will cover engineering. So today we will start with Neeti, and then we expect a huge audience for all these 6 podcast episodes. So I think this was about podcast, and now we will have a group photo, right, Neha? Yeah. So I'd request all of you to just switch on your video so that Ananya can take a few snaps for us. Once you are done, Ananya, just let me know. Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Ananya. So now we will move to our second power couple. So our second power couple is Dr. Anindita Bhadra and Professor Ayan Banerjee. Both of them are from IISER, Kolkata. So Anindita, I think she needs again no introduction, because she was the founder chair of INYAS, but still, it is custom. So let me introduce Anindita first. Dr. Anindita Bhadra is a faculty of biological science of IISER, Kolkata. She works on the behavioral ecology of Indian free-ranging dogs. She aims to understand the evolution of dog-human relationship in nature. And we have Professor Ayan Banerjee, who is husband of Anindita, and he is a faculty of Department of Physical Sciences at IISER, Kolkata. Ayan's research interest is primarily focused on light matter interactions in the mesoscopic domain, where light interacts with micro and nanoparticle. So welcome, Anindita and Ayan. Now, I feel that INYAS is home for Anindita, who built this home. So I'll start with Ayan. I hope that Anindita doesn't have problem with this.
No, first not.
So INYAS is baby of Anindita.
Yes.
Anindita always says like this.
Yes. So Ayan, we would just like to know again, it will be good if you just share your probably, preschool experience and all these things. So basically, we want to know how was your life before marriage?
I was a very firm Calcutta, absolutely Calcutta. All my education has been. I've been in a English medium, Catholic school, and then I did my graduation with SC, master again in physics. Of course, I learned much later. I didn't really know that education. But then the life was. As you typically have for because many arts is extremely involved in seeing films. Theater, of course, on college. I started. We had a group. We formed a group in my early MSc, actually my final year of graduation. And we used to go. We traveled extensively as it didn't have Bengali middle class, upper middle class. And I have never been to, I mean, during that time, I did not have a very, because I was not an introvert, I've been very choosy about friends. I had a very friends. I've had some very close. In school, I think I had none. Though I was always in that activity. Played a lot. Really deep friends started coming after I joined, and that also is. So I've been immersed in a lot of reading, and I discovered my musical journey was also almost entirely that way. I think my journeys, I have mostly developed my own journeys because my family was very strong. I, my maternal uncle as well, and not my uncles, but almost everyone was. It was quite a shame that not. I was steadfastly stubborn in physics. And I remember after that was not so easy. Then I think my father, when I was filling up the MSc, at that time he knew, of course, that the Bahar. Even then, he sort of tentatively asked me, "Can we get BTech?" Other option. I wanted to take it, but just take it. I didn't. And basically, what music, for example, my family has been typically Bengali families don't. I discovered this again on my own, hearing Ashwati Rai. That time, Mozart's bicentennial had happened. Rai had this program on Savatis that I individually found in cassette shops, and from there I went member at Max. It was, of course, a member. So I had learned to walk alone very much. That has been what I have indulged in. I can walk alone. Of course, once we met, then that is not continued. Now, formally walk to. That is also because I know I'm a very private person, so I share my privacy, not share my privacy. But when I get somebody who I can share my privacy, then
So as Neha said, like opposite attracts. So probably Anindita is so outspoken. So probably that could be the one reason. I mean, you are a very private and introvert
no,
person.
but I was. I have evolved enormously. I see Bangalore as, I mean, really what I am now, I think is mostly by my experience. So I can be absolutely a super extrovert if I want.
That's great.
Not that I prefer, not something that I.
Okay, so I mean, I'm very curious personally, as you have told me. Now you are a super extrovert person. So
I can
would,
be. I don't want.
So I would like to, I mean, know, and I think the other, our audience also should know about your theater group. So can you just, in this one, you both can, tell us the story
We
and
met
such.
first time. We met the first time on stage, in the sense that I had heard about her, did not heard about her, because I was by that time I was almost done with my PhD. You know, it was in control and things were nicely going. wherever I went. And I had been a part of this IIC Bengali theatre for a long time. There's no theatre group, so there was literally one, yeah, Communal was Bengali culture. And we one event, theatrical event, they used to, and I was always hooked in. Have There were very few people there who had ever worked on professional stage. But I was naturally inside on the very first year I was at camp. And I had grown to be one of those popped up and never directed, mostly acting. Then I think in my I was I heard of, so the videos we were fresh as well. And of course, there they used to in ISC. What was really at premium were women who girls, young, wanted to act, who could act. I think wanting both happened together. They were. It was good. It would have been good if they had.
I think there is some kind of internet problem because in between some words we are missing.
The words you're missing. Okay. I don't know. Maybe I'll speak a bit louder. Yeah, so maybe some, yeah. So what I was saying is that we had always an issue with getting girls for, acting. And then there was this Freshers Welcome where I was not part of that, but I had not come in. There was a huge amount of, gossip the next day that there was this girl, pretty good looking girl, who had come on stage and said that she wanted to act. And that was wow, that is remarkable. And then there was a lot of stories because, ISC was predominantly a male institute. You do not have to be women inside. And that too, women who are sort of pretty friendly and, sort of extroverted was not there. So everybody on campus knew of her. I heard many, many stories about her. And I saw her from afar. And of course, I was still in my small world. And then during the Saraswati Puja, again, I was roped in to play the sort of lead role. And she got the sort of lead role as well. And that was the first time.
Okay, so Ma Saraswati had blessing.
Kind of. And then we sort of did our journey together, and then I think.
No, and then we set up a theatre group within IS itself, and kind of expanded it to outside the campus into Bangalore, and then we came here. And initial few years of struggle setting up the lab with a small child and all, but we wanted to do theater and we were like craving to do it, and then we again started Mufoshier. So that's been kind of a journey that we've been doing together for 21 years.
Yeah, the time doesn't make sense for me. I don't believe in time anymore. I think it's an entity which we create. So you do things and it all fits in. If you're passionate enough and if you really want to do it, you can do it. Theatre has been a very solid part of our journey. It's really one of the things which has kept us, it has bonded this well, this long. That's been very crucial. And we are actually now, people do know about Mukosh in Bengal theatre scene quite a lot. We've done quite a few pioneering stuff. Well, we've funding, online crowdfunding. No one ever had even thought about it. We've been using a lot of technology, and I think critically, we're now getting critical acclaim somewhat. We've got top technicians of the Bengali stage in the world. But at the same time, this has not been at the cost of research or life or anything. We've integrated everything together because I think one of the most important things that most of us believe is that what we do, we try to get, try to do it perfect. Because perfection for me is a habit. Is a habit. Whatever you do, even if you make a PowerPoint slide, you want to do it properly. That's what we've always tried.
True. So, in theater, you are collaborating. So, do you collaborate academically? I understand. She is from biology, you are from physics. Maybe like Anindita?
We have one paper.
We have one paper together.
Okay. So, I mean, there is a perception like if both husband and wife, they are in some field, I mean, they both work in the same field. And often we see that, I mean, there is little hiccup in minds. I like probably one is doing the major work and the other's name is like, I mean, it comes like that, I mean, there are this kind of perception. So what will be your take on this? I mean,
There's no way, right? She
no,
worked on
I
mosques and then
in
dogs.
your case, probably it is easier. I mean, because you are from completely different background. But have you heard about this kind of notion? And I mean, from your friends or relatives? And I mean, what will be your
We have heard of people who think they're competing in their work, but actually here we have colleagues who are both in the same department, and we don't see that problem. So it's, I think, more kind of the mutual respect and the friendship that uh, you know by supersedes all of this. So if a relationship is strong, then whether you are in the same field or in a different field, whether you talk to each other about your work, all of that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, so I think there are several aspects to this. I mean, here I think this is one area where I think your ego can actually have a positive role. Because I would absolutely hate it if whatever is entrusted to me, what was my job and what is supposed to be my specialization, is done by somebody else, and I'm sort of putting it on them and getting work done from them without myself contributing, without myself getting intellectual pace or something. That would be a lot of loss of quite a loss of self-respect. But that has nothing to do with, again, there is collaboration is always possible. I mean, we collaborate with everybody around. So if I collaborate, if I collaborate with my spouse, that is perfectly fine. I mean, collaboration is not that we work on the same thing. I work more, you work less, or vice versa. Not that at all. Right? I mean, collaboration is complementary work, and I think any relationship probably has this aspect of complementarity. Right? You do share, whatever I am not good in, you do. And again, it's same for research. I mean, why should it be different?
Okay, so I mean, in this connection, basically what we can say like balancing, right? I mean, so now to the typical thing, work-life balance. Okay, so how do you see it? I mean, because I'll ask first Anindita. I don't know about Ayan that how much he travels, but we know that, I mean, you are very active in GYA, in INYAS and many other things. So we see that you travel, right? So, I mean, in those situations, how do you manage? And we would like to know that, I mean, from Facebook, I see that you post many of the pictures with your mother, your father, right? So, I mean, what about your support system and how they help you? So, we'd like to know.
Yeah,
How important is support system?
So, we have two children. And when they were much smaller, since then, we have had a lot of support from both our families. So, even now, when our children have exams, the son, Ujan, can manage on his own, but the daughter, Rupkota, still wants Arn's father. She's very specific. He has to come, and this has been a tradition for the last 15 years.
What?
No, for both of them. I mean, one after another. Yeah, Dada has to come over and be there and help her through the exam period. Parents are not needed, but he's needed. Or when I'm traveling, when they were much smaller, my mother would come over and stay with them. So our families have been very supportive, and because of them, we've been able to do this. Sometimes both of us had to travel to different parts of the world at the same time, and the children were being taken care of grandparents. So that has always been there. And being close to Kolkata that way has been a big blessing for us because they can come over on short notice and stay here. When we were in Bangalore, it was a different matter. And that was one thing. And the second thing is, yes, I travel more than Noyam these days. And when our children were smaller, he would be responsible. And ever since my son was born, he was the one who was responsible for taking care of putting him to bed. he is an expert in putting children to bed. He's been doing this for the son, the daughter, and now my nephew who's with us now. So, it has always been, it has never been like a chore and you decide this is your work, this is my work. We've just, adjusted depending on the necessity of the times.
Yes.
Yeah,
So basically, yeah, sorry, please.
No. I just wanted to mention, see, there was an incident I remember that was when our daughter had been just born. That was when we had moved on to Isaac Mother. And there was, she was probably 6 months or 8 months or something. And there was this faculty get together and there was a dinner happening. And we had got our children. And of course, it was pretty late. And my daughter started whimpering and all. And so both of them, yeah, they were extremely dependent on me about when they came to sleep. And she started getting a bit, cranky and all. And I, of course, it was like in the open, so there was no bed and all. So I started my process. I have a process. So that process out there in front of everybody. And we were both familiar because I have never, it's never been it's been a ritual which does not have too many restrictions. I put my son to sleep on a train, in a crowd, so there are processes. And children, of course, what they want is that familiarity, right? That touch. That if they get, then you don't need too much. I remember once my son was sleeping. He was about a year, just a year, and it was in Bangalore, and we had gone to this Durga Puja Hashan, the Vijaya thing, and there was this dark, this dholak or whatever, that was getting, there was being played multiple, right? He was on here, and this dark was there, literally there. It was being played in full force,
and he just slept.
He just completely slept. Okay, so anyway, coming back to that story, so I was with my daughter and I had started, she was getting to sleep, and then this colleague of mine came and said, "Oh my, what bad luck! This you have to do. Come on, so this is so sad. I feel so sorry for you." So, of course, a male colleague. So this is something that I have absolutely found, rampant. Frankly speaking, I have rarely seen a male colleague of mine who has taken equal responsibility in the sense of even have that kind of attachment where their their kids want their touch and are as familiar, are crave for their touch, and they have these, father will do this little thing, take them to school and change diapers at max, and ma will do everything. That ma will do everything for me is totally nonsense.
Yes,
it's completely nonsense. Yeah,
so between you two, who is the stricter one? More strict.
Depends on context.
Okay, so basically, now I move to although it depends on situation again, but how do you prioritize your things, like both academic and family? So
we have never thought of this, we have just
things need to get done, they get done. That's it. When we have last 15th August, we had a show, and 3 days it was like the entire family is busy doing rehearsals, technical rehearsals, and all the people are at home. So for us, the advantage is our kids got roped into theater. So all of us are into theater, including my mother. So it's like a family thing now. So it's not like we have to make a lot of plans and think, okay, this is priority today, that's priority tomorrow. When there's an event, you put all your efforts into it. And then other times you kind of try and balance, make plans.
It is the space, our space we share. And when I say our, it is the whole, our kids, nowadays, her parents stay with us. They also get integrated. My parents also, my mother, for example, is the president of the drama group. So we are very, it's big because, of course, wavelength matching is important. And the way you rear your kids, they become that. So, for example, our son, he had never seen anything else but National Geographic or Animal Planet on television before he came to Bangalore. And we have, sorry, yeah, Kolkata. We have never fed him using mobile phones. Even, well, that time, of course, mobile
Using the screen.
using the screen. When my daughter was born, of course, smartphones were completely in vogue. But that is another shortcut. Nowadays, because couples are busy, they employ shortcuts. They do not have time for their kids. Which, see, we also have travel and, both working parents. And of course, the mother is never there. That is a big perennial crib that we have had to hear from some of our relatives. That, Betara, they tend to spoil the children. They don't get it, their mom, don't get their dad, Bolivaro, don't get their mom.
It's okay if the dad is not there. Mom not being there is not okay.
Dad will only take care about education and school fees and all, and some, life lessons, lectures, and that is what dad does, right? And maybe play cricket or be a horse, that kind of very, very superficial activity. Okay. So that, and then what happens is that you don't get time, you do not want your children to scream and do all kinds of children stuff, and you just want them to shut up. So you basically give them a mobile, you give them a cartoon or something, and that's it. And therefore, I'm actually very, very, wary, or actually I'm quite scared about the quality of the next generation. Because unfortunately, I find most of the kids that are growing up to be very selfish, to be extremely, they do not be indisciplined to a sense that, of course, they're very self-indulgent.
Right.
All these mental problems that you see now, right, basically happen because they are completely obsessed about themselves.
True.
And they do not know denial. They feel that they are entitled to get whatever they want. Therefore, when they grow up and face life, and then things do not turn out the way they want things to turn out, they get poor marks, they don't get what they want to. I mean, there was this 16-year-old kid in Kerala who killed herself because she didn't get a chance in the district cricket team.
Very unfortunate.
Right. So basically, you give them whatever they want, right? So that we have never done. So the kids probably have had a harder time. But again, they have integrated. I mean, they have also become personalities who can share. Let's see how it pans out.
True, very true. I mean, as a parent, we have greater responsibility. I mean, we should impart these values to our kids. That is our responsibility. I mean, I think that is the very important thing. Yeah. So, I mean, again, like from social media, I have seen like your kids, I mean, I have seen them not working. I mean, taking some note with dogs. So probably it's Anindita's influence. So do you discuss physics with them? I mean, what should I say? Consciously, or like she has influenced them to be with dogs. So do you do something like that with physics?
I mean, I'm really, frankly speaking, not too much, because the problem about physics at times is that it tends to be a bit mathematical. And especially if you have to compete with something that is so general and so sort of common sense based research and all, like animal behavior, then it's very tough, extremely tough, because it's all a bit abstract, right? You can show phenomena and you can sort of try to...
Like Vijay has been to the lab and seen experiments being done. And frankly, he hates maths. So he has gone into humanities, in fact. So it's like hard physics has not been kind.
Yeah, both of them have been massive animal lovers, which both of us are as well. They have just inherited it. And then when you have your mother actually doing research on dogs, it is, I mean, it's a potential barrier that I find infinite. I cannot penetrate it. It's very tough. My daughter probably, let's see.
But I mean, very happy to know that. I mean, both of you are doing science, but your son has taken up humanities. I mean, it's very good initiative. I mean, it's very encouraging.
So he was actually very confused. We had these long discussions late into the night before his CBSE, because he kind of had it in his mind that he needs to study science because we are scientists, and we had a tough time convincing him that no, we don't mind. You don't have to do science. We know you are scared of maths. We don't think you're going to be comfortable doing science. So do what you like. You like history, so study humanities. So he also, even after he took, even now, in his school, teachers, friends, all of them are saying, you're still doing humanities, you're not doing science. But then, thanks to NEP, I always say this, that he actually got to have biology as one of the subjects. Though he has history, geography as his main subjects, he also has biology. So this has been possible because schools are implementing NEP now. So we'll see. He's doing an experiment with his own career.
Yeah, I mean,
curious to see how it pans out.
I mean, see, the problem again that I massively find in India is that parents tend to live their lives through their children. That's the worst thing you can do as a parent.
We've never told our children that, we want you to be this. We always say we want you to be happy. No, we want you to be good human beings.
I mean,
do what you like.
Yes. I mean, there are certain values you impart from your lifestyle.
Yes.
The way you see, again, this giving gyan is completely useless. I hate being given gyan. And I do think that nobody, I mean, it's why you should be, what is there? I mean, of course, in certain cases, you cannot refuse. So you just have to hear it. And it's like a short circuit, right? Comes in here and there. So, but if daily values or daily approaches to how you fend with life, that teaches a lot. I mean, we've had lots of dogs. Our house, we don't believe in pets, but our house has always been a sanctuary for dogs, with the boundary condition that they cannot enter inside. They're always outside, in the garden. And there have been lots of, we don't absolutely believe in neutering and all. Anyway, that's a different story.
Every year there are puppies.
Puppies and
they keep dying.
Yes. Horribly dying. So they have seen death from.
No, they have actually seen pups being born. They've taken care of them. Even when the mother has died, they've taken care of the puppies. Our son has actually had puppies die in his arms and coped with it. So it's also kind of a life lesson, right?
And we've asked sort of, death is a part. So you cannot get hysterical, or you cannot do, I think maintaining your equilibrium is completely crucial. And I think this too much importance to self, that is also something that is.
Thank you, Ayan and Anindita, for sharing parents' perspective, young parent perspective. So now, I don't see any question for you. I think, our discussion is well received by the audience, and I'd request our audience that if you have any, question, or if you need any suggestion from them, you can just email and you can interact with them. So now I will request either Neha or Neetu.
Sriparna, I have a question for them. One giveaway message to young parents who are both working.
I mean, I think the key to life, the key to being happy and contentment is something that I do not like, because that stops you from trying to do better. I think spontaneity is very important. Planning for too long and, working out your life like a computer program, that is always something which I think makes life boring quite a bit. There are some values that we have given a lot of importance to, not very, very few values. Not a value-oriented person that way. I think being together was very important. So we took a lot of life decisions based on the fact that the most important thing was we did not want to live as a couple or as together virtually. I think that was very important because,
that has been kind of always the priority, that whatever decisions we've made, it's always been a family together. And I think that is also something that has been kind of integrated in our children, that they give a lot of importance to the family unit. So other than that, for me personally, if I think of, what to do to tell young parents, it's always that, for me, I've always been like, okay, come, let me give you a hug. And, be that person that your children can depend on. Share your thoughts with them and, treat them like people. Don't just treat them like, dolls which need to be taken care of. We always value their opinion. We treat them as people, even when they're very much smaller. And then, of course, we tell them, okay, this is something that you need to understand, is something that is not doable. So having that respect for each other, having that, strength of bonding is something that I think we've been doing, not planned, but we've been doing as
I think
a
importance is
family.
important. I mean, giving importance, or like when you are a kid, you don't understand. That is the worst thing you can say to a child.
One thing that we've never done is not told our children that, okay, this is not something you need to know as a child. When our daughter was being expected, I actually showed the USG images to our son and said, okay, see, this is a baby inside me, and this is going to be your brother or sister. So, answering questions, keeping their curiosity going, nurturing this curiosity, making them understand at a level that they can grasp. And, what we do through INYAS with our other children, we've been doing at home too all the time.
Right. I mean,
Thank you. Thank you
no
so much.
question can be stopped. I mean, saying that this is a stupid question, or you will not understand this, you grow up, that is a strict no.
Thank you, Ayan. Thank you, Anindita. It was wonderful listening to both of you. And now I think we are going to our next stage of our event. So we are going to show a small reel.
Sound is not connected, Neha.
Just replay. So this was a second reel that we have made showcasing our three scientists, Pooja, Dheeraj, and Tarun. The next session is going to be with Tarun. So we have already showcased him in one of the reels. So we welcome Dr. Ranjana and Dr. Naveen to this event. So the stage is all yours, Tarun. Please take over.
Yeah, thank you, Neha. So on behalf of INYAS, it's my proud privilege to introduce Professor Naveen Nawani and Dr. Ranjana Patania. So this is the third couple in this line, and these are my guru as well. So Dr. Naveen, sir, is leading chemical biology laboratory at Bioscience and Bioengineering department at IIT Roorkee, and he has done pioneering work in the area of chemical biology, synthetic biology, wholesale biosensor, and nanobiotechnology. And Dr. Patania is leading drug discovery lab at the same department. She is also senior fellow of Wellcome Trust India Alliance, and she has done groundbreaking research in the area of chemical genomics, small molecule drug discovery, pathogenesis, and antibiotic resistance, and as well as small RNA. So let's begin this conversation with one simple question. So I would like to know, ma'am and sir both, who inspired you to choose career in science? And it would be nice if you share your role model also, if you have one.
So thank you, Tarun. And it's a pleasure to interact with you all. I am as good as a colleague of all of you, nothing big. So what inspired me to get into science? So I can trace it back to my days of schooling when I used to watch, I'm from a small village. So every day for brushing my teeth, I'll go to the roof. Okay. There's a lot of commotion going on in the house. It's a small house. And I used to watch, so there is a small temple, Nagar Devta, they call it Kheda. and it had a people tree on it. So I'll see like during, fall time, all the leaves from the tree will fall. And come February or March, the tree is beaming with, glossy, shiny leaves. It's springtime, right? And I used to wonder what happened. It looked like this tree is dead few months ago, and now it is blooming. Similar time, then I started observing nature. So there was a grapevine in our house, close to where we used to have, utensil things and other things to be washed in village. You know how it is in villages. You don't wash utensils in the kitchen, so they are washed outside. So there was a small grapevine, and it used to give very tasty grapes. So I started observing nature, and I saw once like there are like small eggs at the bottom of the grape leaf. A few days after that, then it turned into a small caterpillar, and then a larva, beautiful larva, and then again it became into cocoon. So the first time when I started observing intermittently, I was regular in observing what's going on. And then one day, you know the story, like, butterfly, beautiful butterfly goes out. The same time, our teachers in our class, they started telling, DNA Bhagwan, DNA se sab kuch control. So I was always had this question, okay, what's going on? I mean, how DNA can, control something which is immobile to some insecty thing which is dirty, and then turning something which is beautiful and eats like crazy and then flies away. So immobile to flying thing, that's what piqued my interest. And then I started, my dad, who was a headmaster at a school, so I had little privileges, so he got me a microscope. Summer holidays ke time pe issue karate, and I used to see everything that I could find under the microscope. Look, Dad, this is there, this is moving. I can't see it with eyes, but with microscope I can see. It was a simple microscope. So I think that is where this desire to learn more about nature or biology got into me. And then I had this amazing teacher in my undergrad, BSc. I remember the name, Dr. S.K. Gupta. He was a zoologist. So in BSc second year, they started teaching us cell biology. And so at that time, there was no PowerPoint. So professor will draw everything on the board. So they'll take around 15 minutes to draw the diagram of zoology and then explain it in the rest of the 20-30 minutes that we have. So he was teaching us about codons. So RNA codons, AUG, this, that. So he makes this table of these 64 codons and then says, okay, this is this, this is this. Have you understood this? So fine. So there was something odd that I found in that table. And again, being from a rural background, I lacked the confidence of asking the teacher in the class. So after the class, I went to him and I said, like, sir, you said that this is codon of RNA, but you made all thymines. Why no uracil? So by mistake, Professor Gupta had made, thymines instead of uracil. So he said, Naveen, yeah, ye to galti ho gaya. So next time he comes to the class and asks me to stand, I said, lo bhai, aaj to hogi chutti. And then he praises me in front of the whole class, like he is the only attentive student in the class. And then after that, he mentored me a lot. Okay, so you are good in cell biology, it seems. What do you want? So he directed me to this entrance examination in National Dairy Research Institute for MSc. And that was it. And then I had amazing seniors who ragged me, not ragged me, but, intellectually, they found out, okay, Naveen lacks this, speaking skills, confidence. So they, modulated my ragging in a way that I become better in it. Better speaking. I don't know whether I'm still or not. If they are watching, they will be laughing. So this is how I got. Sorry, it took it a bit long, and then that's it. Then I have amazing students. Tarun is one of them. So Ranjana, you want to say?
Yeah.
Tarun,
I got into science, I think by accident. I went into dental school. I did a month of dentistry and realized that, it was not for me. But I got interested in microorganisms because we were taught that, every problem in that 1 month, one odd month, we were taught that, all the diseases, all dental caries are caused by microorganisms. So instead, I chose to go into BSc Honors in Microbiology at Guru Nanak Dev University with the thought that, I'm going to try it for 1 year. appear for medical exams next year, because that used to be the trend. And then, if I could get into PDS without any coaching, probably I'll get into MBBS after a year of BSc Honors Microbiology. So I started doing that, and I enjoyed it so much that I didn't stick with my original plan, ended up completing microbiology. Got interested in genetic engineering aspects, went on to do biotechnology from the same university campus, DBT program. Did my PhD from IMTech Chandigarh, working on Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Its genome was sequenced in '98. I took on the information and then studied 2 bacterial hemoglobins, and then went on to do my postdoc and stuff. So that's how I got into science. Talking about role models, I've had many. There's not a single role model. So role models for me, inspirations for me have come in various forms. Whether it were the research scholars who were doing those cool experiments when I was doing my BSc Honors, that's where it all started. So they would show us all these nice genetically engineered organisms back then. That was 90s, right? 92, 93. So yeah, those were role models. Then my mentors at IMTech, I went through brief period where I lost my dad and I was ready to leave my PhD. The then director, Dr. Amit Ghosh, he convinced me to stay on, and then sort of, convinced me that, this is going to be your attention. If you, provide your attention towards this, maybe you won't think so much about, what has happened. So yeah, mentors there. Then as I had role models in Craig Mello, Mike Check at UMass, then Professor Eric Brown, Jerry Wright, who are pioneers in the field of antibiotic resistance, antibacterial drug discovery. And then in 2007, I joined ITU.
So thank you very much. Both of you have nicely alluded your life stories. So my next question is, what is the major turning point in your life that actually shaped your life personally as well as professionally?
Yeah, I'll answer it for myself. So Tarun, for me, I think there were 2, again, as I said, there were 2 major life-changing events that happened to me. One was when I lost my father, when I was in my early years of PhD. So, my dad was an army officer, and, the family lived in Pathankot. And I was ready, this was second year of my PhD. And my PhD was going really well. But then, I would go home and then I would feel like living with my family. And there was at one point I was ready to, give up my PhD program. So a lot of teachers, a lot of mentors, Dr. Amit Ghosh, Dr. Pradeep Chakrabarti, my mentor, Dr. Kanak Dikshit, they sort of supported me like anything. They sort of convinced me that, if you put in your focus towards science, this would be a really good, deviation. I think I found my, found my calling back then at that point. So that is what helped me to, refocus my energies into science. And I really started enjoying my science back then during my PhD tenure at IMTech. The second life-changing event was when I was pregnant. I had a high-risk pregnancy with twins. And being in Roorkee and around Roorkee is a tier 3. I don't know what tier city you call it. So tier 3 probably. We did not have an NICU. And every medical practitioner that we visited, they gave up and they said, we won't be able to help you because twin pregnancies are usually preterm and we won't be able to provide any assistance because there's no NICU. Then we went to Dehradun, which is about 75 kilometers from Roorkee. Again, a Max hospital was coming up, but again, there was no NICU. So then I didn't know what to do. But then somebody told us about this doctor, accomplished Ops Gynae at Moolchand, Dr. Indubala Khatri. And I went and met her, and she and her team, they gave me all the confidence and they said, you don't have to take any bed rest or anything. You're free to work in Roorkee, provided you keep your physical fitness as good as you are right now. So she gave me the confidence. So she treated me from Delhi. And I did not start my maternity leave till my twins were born. So I think that was the challenging time. And so I think having a good Ops Gynae team who was ready to support me from Delhi in Roorkee and having a lot of family support helped me a lot. No.
Yeah, okay, so turning point for me, like I already mentioned one, like my undergrad, my teacher, Dr. Gupta. Second was getting into NDRI. And then being mentored by these amazing seniors. I credit them more than my teachers of NDRI, except Dr. Malik, who has been like an elder brother to me till date. So these were the things. And then what I did not mention earlier was that I qualified Agriculture Research Services exam, and I became a scientist in ICR in '96. So these institutes, ICR Institute, most of them, they have fixed mandates. So you have to do most of your work, 90% of your work within the mandate. So I was at National Bureau of Animal Genetic Resources. So I worked enthusiastically as I was at that time, and hopefully still I am, relentlessly for genotyping of buffaloes. So from bacteria at intake to buffaloes in NBAGR. And within 2 years or 3 years, I found it's like, regular work. Isolate DNA, do PCR, do genotyping and those things. And I was in job, Sarkari Naukri thi, class 1 officer wala job. So I discussed it with my parents. I don't like this job and I feel like quitting it. So my dad was like, all guns on me. Ye, class 1 job, Sarkari Naukri, kaun chhodta hai? Pagal ho, this and that. But I think that is where the turning point came. Both of us decided, no, we need to take this risk. I resigned from my job. I was senior scale scientist there and then went for postdoc. So that was again a turning point. The third turning point was when by chance we had applied to IIT Roorkee. And we were in, so our bosses told, like, you guys have not taken leave. So this Christmas you take leave and India ja ke aao. So we were here. And then we get a call from McMaster University from Canada that Naveen and Ranjana, you have 2 letters from India. And then we said, like, open them. So they had told us that IIT Roorkee has shortlisted you and come for interview on December. So I think it was destiny that we were in India already. So we asked them to email our presentations from our laptops, our desktops. And we had one laptop, we made presentations on it. So I think that was again a second turning point career. And one thing that probably Ranjana will never tell is when we were interviewed, she was taken and the director calls me after the interview, we want to take you on ad hoc. Is it okay? So I think I had gained enough confidence by the time as I cannot persuade myself to accept this. So both of us were taken as, faculty members in IIT Roorkee. And there it is. So this is what has been a couple of turning points where we have been lucky to get into. But again, you should be ready to take risk also. Thank you.
No, that was very inspiring and thanks for sharing it. So my next question is that both of you are highly active researcher and you have 2 kids also, Neil and Siddharth. How do you maintain work-life balance and what is your support system?
Okay, can I answer that?
Yeah,
and then you
please.
can refer.
Yes, please.
So there is another story behind this. So when the twins were born, and so we got relieved from hospital from Delhi and we came here. So Ranjana, as you said, like motivated and active also. So Ranjana is itching to go to lab, and then these twins are there. So mother, she's torn between being a mother, taking care of kids, and doctor had already told they're premature, so you have to be very careful about their immunity and other things. So for a month or 2, it went on. We had one babysitter to help Ranjana in things. Plus my mom was also there. And then Ranjana got into some sort of, thoughts. So I come to our apartment one day and she has a resignation letter written that, and in tears she is telling me, I think it's useless to do the job because I keep thinking about job. And then if I'm going to job, then I'll keep thinking about Neil and Siddharth. So I better resign. So I frankly did not know what to say. All I could think of was, okay, Ranjana, ye letter, let us keep it in the almirah. Just give me 1 week time and let us try to sort it out. Okay. I said that. And then I went, at that time, I was Associate Dean of Student Welfare also. I was given this responsibility. So I went to my guys and said, Bhai, listen, there is a huge problem. Can you help me? So people, it's a small town, and somehow if you have a warm personality, people are ready to help you. So within 7 days, we interviewed around 6 or 7 babysitters, female babysitters, and we found 2 to be good. So that made life easy for both of us, and Ranjana also. She felt a little relieved. She could sleep also, because me time when baby is born is very important. Sleep is important, so we need to take care of that also. So that is how we were able to do it. And then I think 3 or 4 years we had babysitters. We had that kind of support system. We had support from our families also whenever we needed. So because we are researchers, so we have to go for presentation, defending projects. So this is what. And we had also decided, Dr. Amit Ghosh had told both of us, be with your kids as much as you can, because this is the time you will cherish a lot. So this is where it is. And I had actually made a slide also, that work-life balance, kabhi balance ho nahi sakta. You have to maintain some sort of equilibrium. Balance nahi hoga. So certain things will go more on one side, certain things will go. But then when you come back to your home in the evening and you see your kids there, and they come to you, at least first 11 years or 12 years, they'll do, Papa, Mama, how was your day, and all that. That takes care of everything. That takes care. Even today, both of us fight. Okay, I'm going home first, or who's going home first? So that was it. And I think this is what for me.
Yeah. Tarun, I think I
have a question in between. So what you were saying about this resignation letter, it really resonates with, I think, many of the young mothers here. So is it something like it's more of a mom guilt that we should give more time to our kids? Or is it I'm not able to give enough time to my work? Or is it like a postpartum depression, the hormones that are playing through you?
Neha, I could not figure out what it was, but I felt at that time, I felt very strongly that I need to be with my kids. And I was confident that, after they grow up, I'll be able to do something in life. I don't know, for some reason, now people, when they hear about this resignation letter, they laugh at me and they say, you were crazy throwing up a job. And a lot of couples don't have that single station jobs, right? Sometimes they're working, one of them is in another city. But I think the major driving factor behind that resignation letter, which he still has, was that I wanted to be with my twins. And I knew that I'll be able to do career-wise later on in my life. So I think one thing at a time kind of perspective came into my head when I wrote that. And it was, I would like to mention that it was not, I was not trying to intimidate him, or I just informed him about my decision. He just intervened and said that, okay, let me keep this letter with me. And then just hold your horses for a week or so. But then, I think when we hired, and this is something my obs and gynae and other doctors had told me, that if you want to continue actively in your profession, I think you would need 2 babysitters, because having twins and having twin boys can take a lot of energy, so yeah. So Tarun, more or less, I think we've had excellent support system from our families. My brother and sister, younger brother and sister, have taken turns to live with us. My mother-in-law was there with us for the whole 1 year, and that was a lot of help. I don't know what I would have done without her. My father-in-law still, travels to Roorkee from Yamunanagar whenever we request him to. And then in addition to that, we've had excellent support system in terms of a cook, a cleaner, wonderful babysitters. So I'm so eternally thankful to them for doing this for us.
So thanks for sharing these challenges that you have faced. My next question is, how do you see contribution of each other in your career progression?
Okay. So I'll go first. I think it's been, so we work on areas that are different, but yet we sometimes end up using similar tools, similar genetic engineering tools. That said, I think we've consciously tried to keep our fields different from each other, but it's very comforting to know that there are certain aspects of your science that you can go and discuss with someone else at home or adjoining office. So knowingly, I think we've kept the areas a little different, but then we've shared resources often at times, and for my this thing, I think I've always viewed this as a pleasure to be able to discuss my science with Naveen and his group. And I see this in the form of strength. And I know we were talking about, the previous couple was talking about, and there was a question asked about, most of the times if two people are working in similar areas, the contributions are not given equal, or, they're seen as, one does more and the other does little. So I think it's entirely up to the individual to keep it, as defined as, within the boundaries as much as possible. So I think that's what has been working for me.
Yeah, so same thing is true, except I would also like to add here that I think Ranjana's nature, the way she has the sincerity to do things, has affected me a lot. And this is something which I always hope that I can develop. But I think that is where the balancing act is. She's very well planned. I am very bad planner. She knows when she can get back to home from the laboratory. Exactly, she'll tell 6:30 to 6:45, I'll be there. I also say, okay, I'll also come, but I am there by 7:45 or 8:45. So this is where I tend to get inspired by her really good planning, and she's even helping me to do that. And yes, there are certain research resources that we share. Actually, she has it, and my group is kind of parasite on that. And it's been there. So we have collaborated on few projects, couple of them, but we don't collaborate on regular basis. It's not like that we don't want to, but I think it's independence in the way I get interested in so many different things. If you'll see my profile, from probiotics to nanomaterials and biosensing, and then biosensing with Tarun we developed aptamers, and then the next students are interested more in whole cell biosensors. So my interest is on so many different places. So it's not possible practically to work on the same field that way. But wherever we need expertise from them, we don't want to duplicate things here, and then we go to them and then seek their help. So this is how it's, I think, more of complementary rather than similar things. So on lighter side, we say like my group is more into probiotics and she is into antibiotics. So we have that thing for our WhatsApp group also, probiotic, antibiotic. But I would say like with antibiotics, you definitely need probiotics. So that's what it is. Thank you.
Very interesting. So when you are at home, do you always discuss science, or do you discuss spiritual thing and read book together, discuss it, or something else?
At home, sometimes if there is some very urgent issue, then I think it's not possible to avoid a couple of things, right? So we do discuss sometimes, but we make it a point not to discuss a lot in front of kids, because we don't want them to feel ignored. And I mean, if you have seen Neil Siddharth, it's not possible to ignore them at all. So we are not discussing much science over there. So if that you want to say something.
I differ in that, because he thinks he's not discussing science, but yeah, he does end up discussing a lot of science. So we do discuss a lot of science, knowingly or unknowingly. So much so that one of the twins already can say Acinetobacter baumannii.
So not probiotic, right? Acinetobacter.
So yeah, but then I think it's difficult to avoid discussing about science. But then again, as I said, it's up to us to put the boundary. So we do try to do that. In terms of doing things together, I think we love to travel together if it's possible. Sometimes that's not possible when you're doing different, going to different places. But yeah, we do like to do outdoor things together as a family. Maybe workouts together, meals outside together. We do watch a lot of movies. I haven't reading. I mean, I haven't found time to read a lot of books lately, but then yeah, other things, yeah, we try to do together.
So Neha just typed one question: who makes the kid do the homework, school homework?
Sometimes me and sometimes him, whoever is free that day.
So my next question is that from last almost 1.5 decade, both of you are mentoring many students, and each student has unique personality. So what kind of challenges you face while mentoring students, and how do you overcome with that?
Tarun, I'm still trying to learn actually how to mentor. I mean, how to customize my mentoring for every student. We were PhD students. We used to get a lot of flack from our PhD supervisors for, putting it, restriction digestion. You forget it for like overnight, then the boss will be on your head. You want to do a PhD or not? How many years you want to take? Unfortunately, situation has changed now. You cannot be harsh with the students. You cannot be too friendly with the students also. I have seen that practically. I have the experience. So again, as I said, I am still trying to learn. But apart from PhD students, what I really love being in IIT is these brilliant undergrad students that you get to inspire. These students will come to you in summer and they will help you. So I try to learn a lot from these BTech students. The problems that I cannot solve, I challenge them and they take it on and they solve it. So a couple of my undergrad students have worked so well that one of the students I remember still, Krishna, he has his name in 3 international papers. He's not first author, but he has contributed immensely. And I can tell you, I can accept it. If he was not there, these papers won't go beyond 10 impact factor. They will be below 10 impact factor journals. So this is what about inspiring. I think I connect very well with students, and this is where I have to set a boundary. I'm trying to learn how to choose between when to be a mentor, when to be a little strict, when to be friendly, that way. So I don't have an answer how to deal with students, but it's like every student you have to understand and then develop a strategy how to motivate them, how to challenge them, and then how to get them to work with you together on certain ideas that interest you, that way. Yeah.
Yeah, the challenges are many depending on, this is something where, one size doesn't fit all. So I think they are more individual specific. So when mentoring students, the background that they come from, the kind of courses that they've learned, what they aspire to do, where they want to go, all of these have to be kept in mind. And that is something that I try to do. But yeah, as Naveen said, I think these days, the major challenge is to, motivate them to think about science. The scientific thought process, I think, is going shallower and shallower rather than going deep and deep. So a balance between, how deep to go and when to publish, when to get that story out, or when to patent, or when to have that innovation out, and then how to think about that innovation. I think that's the major challenge that I face at least.
This was kind of impromptu question that came in my mind, so I asked, and I'm sure that it is very relevant also. So that, I mean, I also learned from, from your answer. So now I would like to conclude the session, and I would like to thank both of you. It was very captivating and engaging discussion. So at last, I would just like to say that both of you face many challenges, and now you are highly accomplished scientists. So if I ask you to give a take-home message to the next generation, what message you would like to give?
So I think we're talking about couples who are working, right?
Yeah.
So Yeah, so first to the couples who are working, both of them are working. So I'll say you will face a lot of challenges. The only thing is hang in there. Things improve. Things improve. Just be a little resilient. If you are feeling tired, take a day off, take 2 days off. But hang in there. This is what I'll say. Things will improve. And you'll feel good about it. When you look at what thoughts were there in your mind a few years ago, and then you'll see, okay, how I overcame it. Like, so you guys inviting us for this, it was kind of a revelation for us also, and we are feeling good about sharing all this. So thank you for making us part of it and sharing it. So I'm feeling good about it, like the way our journey has been. We have never, we never do this atmachintan ki kya hua tha, kahan pahunch gaye. So this is good. So please hang on there. Things are not going to be always rosy. So this is what my thing is. And for everyone else, especially for girls, when I teach my class, I pay special attention to the girl students. And I have a slide. I had made it. Maybe I'll mail it to you. That girls are superheroes. Okay. And I motivate them showing pictures of, Arnold, Charpentier, Curie, and then, cartoon characters also, this Supergirl, Canon Pascal. Yeah. So you females especially, I mean, you guys are amazing. I mean, आप लोगों के पास इतना सारा different duties होती हैं करने के लिए, and hats off to you. Even if somebody is so-called housewife, she's not a housewife. उनके पास पूरे काम है भाई. They plan things, everything they do. So मेरा तो एक प्राइम मिनिस्टर जी के साथ एक वो भी था, जो सो कॉल्ड जिसको हाउसवाइफ बोलते हैं ना, उनको जरूर कुछ ना कुछ रेम्यूनरेशंस देने चाहिए, ऑल ऑफ देम. इकोनॉमिकली इंसेंटिव तो दे दीजिए, सोशली तो कॉन्शियस धीरे धीरे देश हो ही रहा है. सो दिस इज व्हाट माय मैसेज आपको.
Yeah, Tarun, I would like to thank you for putting in all the kind words. But the last message you said, something for everyone, something that has worked for me, I think, over a period of time, and something for everyone else to consider is have fun with what you're doing. So, enjoy whatever you're doing. And if you enjoy whatever you do, and if you have fun while you're doing at it, it might not seem that tough, or time just flies by. So yeah, have fun while you are at it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Over to you, Neha.
Thank you so much for such an interesting talk. And now, if there are any questions for the couple, that would be great. If not, then I think we thank you both for taking out time from your busy schedules. It was lovely to hearing both of you and your struggles. I think it felt quite real to me as well. So now, Neetu ji, can we see another reel so that
Yes, Neha.
we are a bit more entertained?
No, but I really enjoyed Naveen and Ranjana's story, and resonating with this, the reel which is coming up, it shows that not only females are there doing household work, we have males also, and we all share our responsibilities.
ये तस्वीर है ख्वाबों के रंगों की, खुशियों की, सपनों की, अपनों की. ये तस्वीर है जादू के लम्हों की, मेरे दिल के सभी तस्वीरों की. मेरे दिल की तस्वीरें है, ये दिल की तस्वीरें है.
Yeah.
Amazing. So now it is time for the vote of thanks. So I request Dr. Kiran, kindly give the vote of thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Neha. And this event was amazingly done. But I would like to thank all three power couples for joining us on this event of Trailblazers event. Like, it is a part of Wisdom event under INYAS. So we have started this wisdom planning last year onwards. So last year we were able to do it online only, but this year, like offline, online, we are doing different activities. So I am especially thankful to three power couples, including Professor Ashutosh, Madam Neeti, Anandita, Ayan from IISER Kolkata, and IIT Roorkee, Ranjana madam and Naveen sir. So I was listening to your stories and amazingly done. Like some things are matching with all of us. Having working wife is sometimes tough to, even more tough to male counterpart, rather than, we all the time we can complain. Yeah, I'm doing so many things, and like that we all the time complain. But I have seen male counterpart, they are doing, supporting, sometimes visibly, sometimes they are behind the scene. So your stories did so well, mesmerized things. So we are really thankful to you all for giving us time on this Friday, and from your busy schedule, definitely, and also from your home, also from your work life, like both. Sometimes I say that students at lab, they are waiting for us, and kids at home also, they wait for us. So thank you so much for giving us this time. And in addition to that, I am really thankful to whole Trailblazers team, Neha, Neetu, Shriparna, Tarun, Shweta, and Pooja, for all these efforts. Like you have made so interesting reels and recorded podcast. So we will continue flashing these on all the Fridays. We have planned to air our recorded podcast, and also these reels will go to social media also. So I'm really thankful, along with Veda. I'm really thankful to the team. And finally, we need to thank, really thankful to Chair INYAS also, because all the time he says yes for like giving the brief introduction of INYAS. He never says no, I'm not available. My schedule is so hectic that I can't attend all the events, but definitely it's his support only that we are able to do so many activities. So thank you everyone. And finally, our participants who are interacting with all the speakers also. So I'm thankful to participants for joining and gracing this event. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Kiran. Thank you for being a constant support throughout the event. And I thank also Chandra, who is our ex-chair. So behind the lens concept was actually initiated almost an year back. It took 1 year to get people to talk about themselves and get to this event. It's been a long journey. And I want to give away the messages once again from all the three power couples. Keep humor alive, hang in there, be true to your kids, and keep the dialogue open, and have fun while it lasts. I think that summarizes all the power couples. And with this, our final last reel number 4, and then we are good to go.
So let me also thank the Wisdom team. Great job done.
Thank you, Dr. Rajan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Neetu, for organizing all the reels. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone, for coming here today. Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
I end the meeting for all now.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you, Nimita. Thank you. Thank you, Shri.